Paramahansa Yogananda responds to remarks of introductory speakers in the following words. I thank every one of you who has cooperated with this cause to help make this occasion a success. I pray that you all profit by the things God has said to us tonight through those that love Him. Anyone who does not respond to love is not fit for the name of human being. Those who do respond to love receive the message of God that passes to them through the words of others. I feel this very strongly. In the words spoken tonight, God has blessed us, and I am humbled by the kindness addressed to me. Praise does not make me any better. Blame does not make me any less. I only know that God is reflected in all. Because of the happiness I feel in the joy of spirit, I want to impart His love to all who come to me, and I shall continue to do so as long as I live. This is my greatest desire, for which I live now. How you can approach God. Extracts from lectures by Paramahansa Yogananda, December 26th, 1937. Very few people understand how to proceed in their efforts to contact God. Many reason, well, whether we think of Him or not, He sustains us. He gives us food and other necessities of life in this world He has created. So why worry about seeking Him now? That is for the afterlife. Some think, I pray, but I don't know if He is listening. I didn't receive what I prayed for, so why bother? Others say, when we die, then we will be angels. But remember, my friends, if you are not angels before sleep, you will not be angels after sleep. Similarly, you will not be given wings and a halo just by virtue of the sleep of death, unless you have earned them here. Whatever you want and expect to be, you must be that now. You must work for it today. We must be practical in spiritual matters, just as material success requires systematic application. The practical aspect of self-realization teachings has changed the lives of thousands. True self-realization has transformed Saint Lin more than I have yet seen in any other Westerner. We have a wonderful exchange of spiritual vibrations, such as the ordinary person never dreams of, because God is reflected in His countenance. His very face sends me into the inner spiritual ecstasy of God's presence. If you live God, you are able to make others feel His presence in the same way that you make others feel your enmity if you hate them. You must use your power to be an instrument of God. Sincerity is a transparent diamond through which the light of God shines in our lives. But how can you know how to approach God when there are so many religions, each one claiming that it will send you to heaven? You have already tried one or many paths, but do you feel that you are in heaven or any nearer to it? Your own self-realization of truth, not blind dogma, must be the only binding force in your spiritual life. I do not want to hold anybody by my personality, for if I do, when death shall cut that string, the flower garland of those souls will be strewn and trampled by time. I am here to serve souls, and the only bait that I shall use is my love. Flattery I shall never give. Anyone who will sincerely practice the methods of this path will remain with me, bound by his own self-realization. It is in your own interest that you should open your eyes of intuitive understanding and follow truth, not dogma or religious charlatanism. Have goodwill toward all religions. Love them in your heart, but be faithful to the path to which God has drawn you. Don't take my word or anyone else's. Ask the Father. He will tell you. Pray to Him. Heavenly Father, lead me that I be not deluded. If you are sincere, you will find that He will guide you, and that you can prove through your own experience the truth of my words. The Monkey Trial and its sequel. It is appalling how we human beings abuse ourselves in so many ways. There was a famous trial in Tennessee when a school teacher there began teaching his class Charles Darwin's theory of evolution. It raised great controversy as to whether man was created by God or evolved from apes. One side said, "Suppose we did come from monkeys. We have come so far, that is good." The other side said, "We won't accept the absurd idea that our forefathers hung from trees by their tails." While this trial was going on, the head monkey in the world is said to have gone to heaven with his delegates to see God. He addressed the Lord. "Your Majesty, we have come to register a protest. The race of human beings has been known to engage in all kinds of evils, lying, cheating, committing adultery, and murder, waging wars. Now, there's a sect that is trying to establish that these creatures are our relatives. We are insulted. We don't always have reason to be proud of ourselves as human beings, but neither should we be discouraged by our mistakes. Always look to the silver lining in every experience. Learn from your mistakes and look to God no matter what happens. If you believe it when someone tells you that you can get to heaven without effort, you will be sadly disillusioned. You must know the method by which you can find God, how you can please and approach God. There is a prayer, affirmation, following moral ways, concentration, meditation. The Kriya Yoga path I am giving to you is a science that includes all of these. If scientists got together and only prayed for inventions, would they get them? No. They have to apply God's laws. So how can a church or temple bring you God just by blind prayer or ceremony? You should go to church or temple not for socials or because of beautiful music or lofty sermons, but for God and for your own spiritual development, which will give you God consciousness. I am not trying to lure or hold anyone by the bait of false promises. If you come here for God, and if you stick to what you receive and practice it faithfully, then you will find truth through your own self-realization. Jesus taught that the greatest commandment is to love God with all thy heart and with all thy soul and with all thy mind and with all thy strength. Christ's apostle Saint Paul summarized that teaching in the words, "Pray without ceasing." Buddha taught, meditate on God. Bhagavan Krishna proclaimed, "He attains the supreme effulgent Lord, O Arjuna, whose mind, stabilized by yoga, is immovably fixed on the thought of him." Zoroaster and all prophets of true religions gave the same teaching. Proof of the existence of God. The proof of the existence of God, as proclaimed by the great ones, is not in books, nor in the words of others. It is within yourself. When you sit quietly and pray, and nothing happens, you have not contacted God. Blind prayer and praying with the wrong motive do not work. If you pray 5 hours daily from today, that you might become a Henry Ford, that prayer will not be granted. But if you pray to God, "I am thy child, I am made in thine image. Make me one with thee," that prayer will be fulfilled. The wave cannot say, "I am the ocean," because the ocean can exist without the wave. But the ocean can say, "I am the wave," because the wave cannot exist without the ocean. It is correct to say, "The ocean has become the wave." Similarly, it is the greatest delusion to say, "I am God." You must in truth know within, from your own experience, that you are one with Him and can work His miracles. When you can feel your consciousness in every atom, in all space, and beyond creation, then you can rightfully say, "God and I are one," but not until then. Once you reestablish your lost relationship with God, then you will have everything. Was not Jesus richer than Henry Ford? He had everything the Father has. His home was the universe. His consciousness was omnipresent. That is why he said, "Son of Man hath not where to lay his head." Jesus demonstrated that he was one with God. He said, "Thinkest thou that I cannot now pray to my Father, and he shall presently give me more than 12 legions of angels?" But he would not use his powers to destroy those who were crucifying his body. That is where he expressed his God-like qualities. For God does not punish us for our wrongs. We punish ourselves by reaping what we alone have sown. So when Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do," he represented God by his humility and by his refusal to use his tremendous power to punish others. The way to know God. What, then, is the way to know God? You must follow those moral principles of right living that are common to all true religions. First of all are the "thou shalt nots." Don't steal, don't lie, don't kill, don't commit adultery, don't commit any evil act. Everything has a purpose, and you should understand the reason behind moral rules. For example, if you are a slave to sex and misuse its power and forget its divine purpose to create children, you will lose energy and destroy your physical and mental health. Secondly, follow the positive rules. Be kind, sincere, truthful. Love your fellow man. Practice introspection and self-control. But in themselves, the first two steps are not enough to know God. After adopting the right methods of living, you must learn to quiet the body and mind, and this begins with right posture. Always sit upright, with the spine straight. This is particularly essential for meditation. Mastery of restlessness of the body produces great mental power. The fourth step is to switch off the life force from the body, so that the attention is freed for inner contemplation on God. You cannot commune with God by emotional or muscular demonstrations. When the life force is shut off from the muscles and senses, sensations cannot reach the brain to disturb one's inner concentration. Why do you feel peace in absolute physical and mental stillness? Whence comes the peace you experience in sleep at night? Something cannot come from nothing. The answer is that God is behind the state of sleep. That peace felt in sleep during muscular and sensory relaxation comes from God. So the masters have said that we should practice pranayama, which means methods to control the life force in the body. Pranayama brings results much faster than simple prayer or other methods of diverting the mind from sensory distractions. In one life, you can attain God consciously by self-realization techniques. Meditation, which is possible only after achieving interiorization is the experience consciously, with the full possession of your mind, that state of divine peace and joy, which you feel subconsciously in sleep. So the masters teach that by switching off the 5 sense telephones of sight, smell, taste, touch, and sound through pranayama, you can produce that consciousness at will, enhanced 1,000-fold. As every mental state has a corresponding physical state, and every physical state has a corresponding mental state, the practice of pranayama for self-realization is aided by right eating, right thinking, right behavior, and proper exercises to oxygenate the system. After successful pranayama, your consciousness becomes interiorized. This interiorization is the 5th step. You will find your mind fully alert and concentrated within, ready to enjoy the divine peace and presence of God in deep concentration and meditation. The 6th and 7th steps. When you are in this way, able to close off distracting sensations, you will be at the altar of God. Apply the test. No matter what path a devotee follows, he will ultimately have to retrace his way back to God by these successive steps. I can keep my mind fully concentrated on anything I choose. When you can shut out restless thoughts at will and put the attention wholly on God, that is the real beginning of divine communion. Unless you are able to do that, you have not reached God. Those who love God are always thinking of Him. If you love Him deeply enough, you do not have to fly away from the world. You can fulfill any responsibility and still think of Him. Just as the pianist is always thinking of music, so the lover of God is always thinking of Him. A divine joy feeds the brain, the heart, and the soul. That joy is God. He is ever new joy. I remember when Master Swami Sri Yukteswar said to me, "If the whole world was given to you, you would grow tired of it. No power or miracles can compare with the joy that is God." That perennial happiness is what everyone is seeking. God is ever new joy unto eternity. If you have that joy, it will never grow stale. From that day, that joy has never left me. Whether conditions make me feel externally sad or pleasant, whether I am laughing or crying, the silent river of God's joy has been continuously flowing beneath the sands of my thoughts and all the experiences of life. I don't talk about it. I feel it. The whole universe holds no attraction for me, for when I behold that great silent river of joy within, I am satisfied. In India, these truths have been proven. God has not been so much talked about as proven by the great masters. You must do likewise. I can say, God, 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 and go into the state of ecstasy. I can enter that state by meditation, or by seeing beautiful scenery, or by looking at someone whose countenance shines with the presence of God. When you have mastered the steps by which you reach the highest Nivirkalpa Samadhi state, you can return to it at will by any method. Test these truths in your meditations, but do not delude yourselves. Many people get caught by the ego and think they are already there. But to them I say, if you break your hand, can you heal it at once? As Jesus could restore wholeness to his crucified body? If you cannot do that, do not think that you have attained the state of Christ oneness with God. You must still labor for it. To his devotees, God sometimes reveals himself as a great light, or as the cosmic sound of Om, or Amen, or as boundless joy, love, or wisdom. His light spreads like wings all over eternity. Such light that sometimes I see this earth in it like a dream. This whole world is a dream. God is in the intelligent, creative, vibratory sound of Om, or Amen, that devotees hear. He often talks to me through that vibration. In it, I feel his creative intelligence and power. God is love. When you feel unconditional love for all, that is God. In devotees, of course, you feel the love of God more manifest. But still you love all, because even though hidden, he dwells in all. By constant communion with him, everything but God vanishes. I have no consciousness of nationality, no consciousness of India or America. I love you all just as I love my own family. Good or bad, I love all alike, for they are my brothers and sisters. Naughty or good, we are his children. We must manifest that love now. We must practice that love now. Patriotism that teaches everyone to love all nations as well as their own is the right form of patriotism. But that patriotism which teaches us that to love one's own nation, one must be the enemy of other nations, patriotism that espouses aggressive domination and bloodshed is wrong. One who does not love all as God's children does not have true patriotism. For as I wrote in the poem, My India, God made this world, and man made its confining countries with their fancy frozen boundaries. You insult yourself when you take pride in the color of your skin, or in race or creed. I prophesize that someday the races of Europe shall be dark, and Asians shall be white. Be proud of what is beneath the skin and flesh and bones, the image of God within you. Be proud of that alone. It is a strange paradox. You in the West have accepted Christ, who was an Oriental. He was born in the Orient, amidst downtrodden nations, to show that you should love all nations and races alike. So that last or eighth step is samadhi, or oneness with God as light, or cosmic Om, or joy, or love, or wisdom, and not only oneness, but expansion of that oneness from the limitations of the body to the boundaries of eternity. If you have attained this God union, I bow down to you. I sit at the feet of anyone who has fully realized God, as do all souls who have felt God. Be loyal to what you have received and work at it earnestly. Otherwise, you shall never know the wondrous blessings of this path. One cannot keep transferring from one to another of 5 cars, each traveling by a different route, and expect to get anywhere. Take up one method that you know to be truth and follow that. You must realize God yourself. He is the only real friend whose love is unconditional and everlasting. Before you were born, when no one else was with you, He was with you. When earthly friends bury you, He will still be with you. Every night when you sit to meditate, pray to God unceasingly. Tear the silence with your longing. Cry to God as you would cry to your mother or to your father. Where are you? You made me. You gave me intelligence to seek you. You are in the flowers, in the moon, and in the stars. Must you remain hidden? Come to me. You must, with all the concentration of your mind, with all the love of your heart, tear at the veils of silence again and again, as constant churning brings hidden butter out of milk. Churn the ether with the ladle of your devotion, and it shall produce God. Excerpts from the book The Divine Romance by Paramahansa Yogananda.